Hello everyone, this is Hakaym and welcome back to some more World of Warships, and we will be continuing on looking at the tier 10 ships, and this time we will be starting off with the destroyers and then possibly pushing into the battleships. And we have a good game, and obviously if you have not figured it out, we are taking out the tier 10 USSR split branch, the Grozovoi. We are playing on North. We are joined with a couple of our clanmates. We have a Taiho, Montana, Federagrossa, Bismarck, Key, Hindenburg, Baltimore, Rune, Chapayev, Shimakaze, Grozovoi, and Z46 on the enemy team. There is a Taiho, Yamato, FDR, Tirpitz, Des Moines, Baltimore, Rune, 2 Runes, Edinburgh, Gearing, Habash, and a Kagero. Starting off, this is one of my more favorite tier 10 destroyers in the game. Obviously, more so than the Z46. I like the Z52 quite a bit. Good game for you guys to watch. Really good demonstration, especially against the enemy CV. Good demonstration why the Grozovoi does a better job than the Habash, especially when dealing with enemy planes. Obviously, we are being spotted by the enemy CV, and we are going to go ahead and try to fall into concealment as quickly as possible. Right now, plan is try to cap A, and especially for anyone that is planning on or are currently pushing up the split branch, this is kind of what you're going to be expecting with the Grozovoi. The Grozovoi is very similar to the Habash in a lot of ways, but at the exact same time, it is a little bit different. Habash does rely more on its speed and long-range fire than the Grozovoi. Not to say the Grozovoi can't do the same, but the Grozovoi is almost a mixed bag, very similar to how the USN destroyers are in a lot of ways. And I do apologize for this replay for whatever reason. The replay is offering tips, and obviously I don't really rely on tips. But that is just the unfortunate thing. And obviously you can tell we are currently being spotted by a enemy destroyer, not by the Tirpitz or anyone else, and there are incoming torpedoes. And well, we might be able to dodge these torpedoes if only someone does not show up behind us and stall our momentum backwards. Oh crap. That was very, very close, but we were able to dodge those torpedoes. Now we can possibly do something about that enemy destroyer. Once again, there was someone spotting us as we were opening up on the Tirpitz, and he is still out there around the probably western, and my guess would be the fact that he is out west trying to get torps, and I'm gonna bet it is probably one of the enemy destroyers, probably the Kagero would be my guess. So starting off, torpedoes are a good option. The Grozovoi does have 10-kilometer range torpedoes. They do 65 knots. They are somewhat quickly detected at 1.3 kilometers, and you do have to be careful of that fact, but not a lot of people expect torpedoes incoming from the Grozovoi, maybe just due to the fact that they forget about it. So we're going to go ahead and start pushing north. I am trying to at least spot for our teammates. We did lay down a smoke to at least help separate them, but obviously there is probably the Kagero still currently spotting, but we'll see him in just a moment. Really debating on whether or not to open up on this Freddy, but there is obviously a Rune, and I think it's a high time to actually pull back south. Don't want to get separated from our teammates, and there's no reason to push all this way north just because no one's up here. More than likely you will get trapped. So the Grozovoi, one nice thing is the fact that it is quick and we are detected, which does mean there is the enemy Kagero around here somewhere. And probably any moment. There he is. Enemy Kagero is now officially spotted. Gonna go ahead and bring our guns around. More than likely his torpedoes are reloaded, so we do have to be careful. It does look like he is trying to sneak up on our Montana, but that's the nice thing about the Grozovoi is she's actually a very quick ship. 41 knots with the speed flag and everything. The only downside is if you do go for defensive AA, which the Grozovoi can have, you don't get that extra bit of speed, but overall she's a very quick ship, obviously in a straight line. Kagero has dropped smoke and is trying to get away, but unfortunately for him there's not much he can do. So we'll see if we can try to finish him off. Do have to be careful. There are possible torpedoes incoming. And speak of the devil, there they are. Looks like he fired both spreads. And obviously this is not a ship with any torpedo reload booster on it. So I don't have to worry about any additional torpedoes incoming. So all I have to do is quickly get out of the smoke and run him down. Now our team is down a ship, but we are obviously 2 caps ahead of the enemy team, so we are in a point advantage. And there is a Kagero. Looks like he is currently trying to border hump. Probably what he should have done was actually push back north, and it looks like we are getting some help from our Montana captain, and that is 1 dead ship. So enemy destroyer is officially neutralized, and now we can begin assisting our team a little bit out east. Now you can see a lot of the enemy team is all hovering north of the B cap, not really offering a lot of support. And for a moment there we were detected, which does mean there is more than likely another destroyer. And I really do apologize about that help showing up. It is quite a bit annoying, but until Wargaming fixes it, there's not much I can do. Does look like a enemy gearing does pop up right next to our Montana that was starting to push north, and does look like enemy CV is coming in to drop some additional planes as well. But this is one nice thing about the Grozovoi. Very fast firing guns and very similar to the velocity on the Grozovoi. I did pop my defensive AA, try to help our Montana captain with the incoming planes, but I don't think he is going to survive this. Yes, unfortunately, Taiho does focus him down, which is highly unfortunate. So we are down a tier 10 battleship, but we are ahead in points, and we are also ahead in ships. Now this carrier is going to be annoyance for me, and once again, this is a nice thing about the Grozovoi. Its AA is pretty darn good. You can see we've already shot down about 4 planes. And this Taiho is going to be just pestering us with his fighters. It does look like he is running a 3-1 build, I believe. I'm somewhat ignorant on CV builds, but it does look like he is quite fighter heavy. So he is going to be constantly pestering us with his fighters, but right now I am going to try to get out of A as quickly as possible. Hopefully not run into our friendly corpse there. I was warned about that, but I think we should be fine. Don't know why this Baltimore is firing AP. Maybe he is hoping for good penetration with his AP, but not really. We do lose our engine, but we should be fine. Nice thing once again about the Grozovoi is the fact that she can zip around very, very quickly and get out of danger with very little problem. Torpedoes are inbound. I doubt these are going to hit anything, but we'll see. Now we are in a decent location that we can actually try to relocate, and it does look like the Baltimore is starting to push in with his friendly Edinburgh. Yeah, I don't exactly know what they're hoping for, but it does look like the Baltimore has used radar, and yeah, this is probably a very poor time to use his radar. He is currently spotting the friendly Chapayev, which is unfortunate for him, but it does mean that he can focus on him, but it does look like the enemy team is currently focusing on us. Just taking my time. This radar is going to go down. should in a moment, and we should be in a better location. Now we do have a smoke screen, and this is one thing I do like about the Grozovoi over the Hakaym, is the fact that this smoke screen, albeit it is Russian, but at least we can hide in it, especially when the Baltimore has already decided to blow his radar. Now AP against cruisers and battleship, use it. As you can see, we are racking up the damage. It does look like he did lose one of his guns, actually. That's actually very, very interesting. Now, granted, I might have aimed a little bit too forward, but that is one dead Baltimore. We did take it down, which is actually really superb. And Edinburgh is currently sitting in the smoke screen. More than likely, he is probably going to be firing torpedoes. So do have to be extremely careful with that. Gonna go ahead and drop my own torpedoes. Honestly, I probably should have aimed for the enemy Yamato that is pushing in, but it does look like the rune does take out the enemy Edinburgh. So now we could possibly breathe a little bit easier, but like I said, more than likely that Edinburgh has dropped torpedoes and is possibly might be coming our way. Oh, looky there, there's torpedoes. Enemy Yamato is now pushing in quite heavily, and we're just gonna be a constant harassment. This is one good thing about the Grozovoi, is just due to the fact that we can be a harassment to enemy battleships. Hakaym is spotted, and this is a very poor location for the Hakaym. There's very limited things he could do to actually get out of this alive. He is kind of stuck behind, and that's the benefit of the Hakaym, is the ability to move around and try to stay out of the way. Now, teams are looking fairly close. We've actually lost quite a few of our ships. Enemy team have lost the same amount, so teams are fairly even. At this point, I believe we are one ship ahead of the enemy team. My focus right now is try to take out this enemy Hakaym. Probably should have switched over to HE. Honestly, AP against a Hakaym broadside, yes, you will do a lot of damage. But at this angle, honestly, HE would have been a better choice. And it does take me a little bit too long to kind of realize that. But we should finish off this Hakaym right here. There we go. And now the enemy team does not have any destroyers left alive. All that's left is a rune, a Yamato, the CV, and I believe the Freddy out west. So at the moment, we are in a very commanding position, and you may have realized I'm actually very close to a Kraken right now. I would like to get a Kraken. Now, there is a rune pushing in towards us. Am trying to get in a better location, but the CV and as well as this fighter plane is almost always going to be spotting me, so I do have to be a little bit careful. I was hoping here I could snipe that Freddy, but unfortunately he does go down before I can even get a shot in at him. So all that's left on the enemy team that would ensure me a Kraken right now would be the rune or the Yamato. And I want you guys to take your bets and figure out which ship we'll get for the Kraken. We'll see how things go. Maybe I won't even get it. Maybe I talked too much and spoiled it. Anyways, enemy CV is currently spotting us. I do pop my defensive AA just to shoot down those planes, and as you can see, we do a pretty good job shooting down the enemy CV's planes. Grozovoi does come around the corner. I do drop my smoke screen and try to get out of line of sight. Do get a fire on him, and once again AP against this rune. Look at that, 3,000, and really, our friend decided to try to help out, and unfortunately nabs the kill for himself. So all that's left on the enemy team is the Yamato and the CV. And the Yamato is near full health. Look at that. Only has taken about 25,000-ish points of damage. So he's fairly full health. Now the enemy Taiho is in a very unfortunate position. Does look like the friendly Taiho's planes are incoming to do a bombing run on him. We'll see how that works out for him. Now, the Yamato was last spotted pushing around this corner, and I am going to try to hope to get some torpedoes, but we'll see how things go. It does look like the Yamato has one up. Probably was expecting those torpedoes incoming, so should have probably waited on dropping those torpedoes. Obviously, Yamato is well aware there's a destroyer and opens up with a salvo of HE. Look at that. Lucky hit from the Yamato, and now we are very, very close to dying. Oh, but I really, really, really want that Kraken. And this is one nice thing about the Grozovoi, is its fast firing rate of fire. It looks like the enemy CB is now bringing in his fighter planes to try to spot me. But right now I am probably should be getting this island between myself and this Yamato. This is a little bit too close to a Yamato for my liking. As long as we keep this island between us, we should be fine. There we go. And it looks like the CB is bringing his fighters back over the top of us. And let's use our defensive AA. Let's see if we can shoot down these planes as quickly as possible. And not getting a lot of planes shot down right now, probably due to the fact that we just lost a substantial amount of our AA. I believe, actually, let's see if I can actually take a look. Yeah, unfortunately I can't actually take a look, but we have lost a substantial amount of AA. We do get a few planes, but not enough to really subdue any planes incoming. Now, it does like the enemy CV might try to torp our friendly, but right now I really want this Yamato dead. I'm trying to play it carefully. Torpedoes are now officially reloaded, and does look like the Hindenburg did drop torpedoes. We are unfortunately obviously spotted. Gonna drop one salvo there, and then probably another salvo more to the right, because it does look like the CB is dropping torpedoes. And let's see, he does take some, but not enough to kill him. Taiho goes down to our friendly Hindenburg. Can we get the kill? Yamato is the last ship on the enemy team. Our first set of torpedoes does miss. Second set, it does look like we get one. It caused a flooding. Am trying to be careful of those planes. And can he flood out? I think he is trying to heal, and he is still flooding. But I want to secure this kill. His guns are not turned properly. Can we finish him off? Fire is caused, and Kraken unleashed. So our team earned a victory. We earned 535,828 silver, 9,581 XP, and 1,920 free XP, and we earned Kraken Unleashed. We did 102,215 points of damage, 221 shell hits, 1 torpedo hit, 16 planes shot down, 5 kills, 9 fires, 1 flood, 3 defended base caps, and 1 captured base. Our clan did a really fantastic job. Our division were top 3. Damage, we did almost 47,000 points of damage against the Yamato, about half his health, and the others were a mixture of kind of stealing, securing the kill, as well as knocking out full health enemy ships. So overall, not a bad job. High explosive did around 40,877, AP did around 23,469, torpedoes did around 12,000, our fires did around 14,000, and our floods did around 12,000. So not a bad game with Grozovoi. So we are going to go ahead and jump into the port. I will see you guys there. Alright everyone, welcome back to the port, and the Grozovoi is definitely one of my more favorite tier 10 destroyers, and not a tier 10 you see quite a bit, usually overshadowed by the Haberdash, just due to its long range fire that the Haberdash can do. But overall, I mean, she's not a bad ship. Granted, yes, once again, like I said, she is overshadowed by the Haberdash, but she does have some benefits over the Haberdash, and that is on a few things. Starting off, survivability, not the highest amount, especially compared to how the Haberdash, about 2,000 points less, but the benefit of The Grozovoi versus the Habarash is her armor 25 millimeters, so AP doesn't do as good of a job. Can still hurt, but the Habarash is very well prone to taking a substantial amount of damage whenever AP is thrown at it, just due to the fact that it does have thicker armor. So the Grozovoi does have thinner armor, which does mean obviously HE does a better job against it. But at least you don't get those full AP penetration from cruisers all the time. Moving on to the main guns, 3 dual 130 millimeters. They have a very quick reload, one of the quicker reloads in the game, 3.2 seconds. Turn times is 11.5 seconds. Dispersion is 106 meters. The fire chance is nice, 11%. The HE damage is nothing compared to the Habarash, I believe at 1900. Yes, 1900 points of damage, but they generally are a little bit more penetrating, at least what it kind of feels like at times, than what the Habarash, or the Habarash has better penetration than the Grozovoi at times. At least that's what it feels like. AP is decent. Always recommend using AP against broadside targets. You can get a pretty substantial amount of damage. Really is very similar to the Habarash as far as its velocity on its shells. Very, very fast firing shells, 950 meters per second. And that's the benefit of the Grozovoi, is that with that high velocity shells, it does have a decent range, and you can outcompete a Habarash at times, just depending on what the Habarash does run. So, I mean, if anything, it's a good counterpart. The only other downside is the fact that the Grozovoi has three turrets instead of 4 turrets like the Habarash does have. But the Grozovoi has a benefit over the Habarash, especially since the Habarash has been semi-neutered, so to speak. Her torpedoes do have a 10-kilometer range. They are not incredibly fast, but decent at 65 knots. They are 10 kilometers. They will do max damage of 14,600. And they reload 129 seconds. And I do recommend these torpedoes are probably not something a lot of people will expect from a Russian destroyer, either due to lack of knowledge on the ship or just due to the fact that they don't think about it whenever they see a Grozovoi. Obviously, the range on the Habarash is only 6 kilometers instead of 10. And that's the thing. The Grozovoi can Invisitorp versus the Habarash cannot. Because the detection on the Grozovoi, especially depending if you go for Concealment Expert and the concealment module, can get down to around 6 kilometers. So it's very, very nice. AA guns are really fantastic on the Grozovoi. I highly recommend run defensive fire. Is very beneficial for your teammates as well as yourself to be able to knock away incoming dive bombers and torpedo planes. So starting off, you have 2 quad 25 millimeters. Average damage is 23.7 kilometer range. Then you have 4 quad 45 millimeters, 99 average damage, 4.2 kilometer range. And then you have 3 dual 130 millimeters. Average damage is 61 and range is 6.2. So AA is pretty decent. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend run that defensive AA. Just because you do have it. Now, the maneuverability is a little bit slower than the Habarash at 41.5 knots versus the Habarash at 43 knots. And if you run defensive AA, you don't get the bonus to the engine boost. But honestly, she's pretty quick by herself. Turning circle radius is 720 meters, which is a little bit tighter than the Habarash at 760. Rudder shift time is a little bit better, about half the duration that the Habarash does have at 4.6 seconds. So maneuverability is actually fairly decent. And then, as I did point out, the concealment is superb for a Russian destroyer, 6 kilometers. So highly recommend being more of a stealth than the Habarash does, or Habarash is. So as far as consumables, once again, recommend the defensive AA. The Grozovoi does not get the heal, so you don't even have the chance. So instead, you do rely on that smoke quite heavily. As usual, very very similar build to any of my other destroyers, and obviously go for main battery mod 3. Because you just want those guns to be pummeling out very, very, very quickly. So with that said and done, the captain is still being worked on. That's why I'm actually running this very ugly camouflage, just so I can try to get him all the way to 19 points. So I will have 2 points prior to finishing off the captain. Priority target is always a recommended. Probably last stand and probably adrenaline rush. Once I get up to 19 points. Basics firing training, just so your AA is a little bit more improved, as well as your guns. Demolition expert, advanced firing training, and concealment expert. Now, you could possibly get rid of the basics firing training and opt for survivability expert. Just make the ship a little bit more tanky. Make it as much as the Hobrush is. So that is one thing you could do instead of going for basics firing training. This is more of a set in mind as far as what this ship is for. But anyways, this is going to be it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like what you saw, hit the like and subscribe button. You guys have a great and fantastic day. Zai Jin.